Scott just got out of the tanning bed. Okay. And
last time we were on, he was in the
sauna.
They're right by each other.
Yeah, they're right by each other. So, yeah. Are we on?
We're on. I'm looking at chat. Public chat, right? Why does it look different to me? There's Blister Bill. I'm in the right place, evidently, because we got our first person. And it's funny, as soon as Shell walked in, I went, hello. And Blister Bill came in and went, hello. Gen X shares a brain. Wirehead, I will wish you another happy birthday in a different setting. Wirehead had a birthday this week. Giving our virtually live studio audience a moment to get situated. So, Shell, you're the host this week, right?
No.
I love that fear on your face.
Yeah, that was. You told me
Kevin, how are you?
I might have been able to come up with it, though, because I have a plan for next week.
I figured you would. Linda, how are you doing? Doreen, hello. Doreen is stuck in her car driving home from work again, so she'll just be listening. It's all right. We will do our best to auditorily. Is that even a word?
No.
Auditorily, audibly.
Snapping our lips.
Yeah, that. We'll make sure we give you guys some make it fun. All right. Well, we might as well get started. We have a fun-filled hour waiting for all of y'all, and I get to be the host this week. So, welcome to the Three View Mirror podcast, your weekly dose of all things 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. Where three friends get to talk in front of a virtually live studio audience about three seemingly random topics that at first look would have absolutely nothing to do with one another, except they do. The host every week knows that there's a secret connection, a secret thing tying these seemingly random things together. And we talk about the individual topics for about 15 minutes every week. And then at the end, we do a big reveal. We ask the audience, do you guys know the connection? And if they do, they share. And if they don't, I share. But that's about it. That's the way we play the game. 3 topics, 1 reveal, 3 hosts, and a virtually live studio audience. My name is John Katrides. I'm also known as Gen X Jono across Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Lots of places where I talk about all things Gen X all the time. And I'm joined with 2 of my friends and co-hosts. Shell?
I am Rochelle Oblak, better known as Gen X Shell. And this is, I'm so happy to be here tonight and that it's not my night. I'm really happy about that.
And I'm Chris Clues, keynote speaker, author. I'm actually leaving for Tennessee tomorrow morning to do a keynote there. I talk about and write about 80s pop culture and what it can teach us for life and work. And as I've said before, you can get my books on Amazon. They're a great holiday gift. In fact, Amazon has discounted my 3rd book from $19 to $8. So go get it now. Like this is the
$8.
Yeah, $8. I still get the same royalty, so I don't care. But they took it out.
Wirehead's Canadian, so for him it would be $8.
Dollars, yeah.
$8. Which Canadian currency? U.S. probably exchange and make it like $42. But at any rate, this is the Three View Mirror.
Is it coming?
Hello.
Woo-hoo!
I like our theme song.
I love our theme song. All right. If one of you wants to get ready to start typing, I'll give our reveal of our 3 different topics.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Hold on. Just let me say thank you to Kevin for getting my book to read over Thanksgiving, man. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Linda wants to know what part of Tennessee.
Murfreesboro, about 30 minutes from Nashville. So, all right, what's the 3 topics?
3 topics today. Topic number 1. Days of Our Lives.
Ooh.
Soap operas that we grew up watching.
Oh, God.
Topic number 2. PBS. Public Broadcasting System. The PBS Kids. The shows we watched on PBS. And topic number 3. Sleestacks and things that traumatized us as young children.
I wonder how many youngins are listening to this going, what the is a sleestack?
Dude, the list of things on children's television programming that traumatized us as kids is long and undistinguished. But that's part 3. Let's start with Days of Our Lives. And you don't have to stay with Days of Our Lives because everybody had these soap operas that their moms watched, their grandmothers watched, that we would watch when we were homesick over the summers sometimes. But yesterday, for instance, was the anniversary of Luke and Laura's wedding. And Days of Our Lives is one of the few soap operas that just got renewed for a 61st season.
Wow.
It's over on Peacock now, not on NBC, but they continue to churn this stuff out. And there's very few soap operas left. You know, General Hospital, I think, is still out there. Days is still out there, but that's about it. They're basically gone. But the amount of stars that started on soap operas, the amount of pop culture that came from soap operas. Did you guys watch? Did your mothers watch? Did your grandmothers watch? What was the deal?
I probably could go first on this one.
Okay.
Okay. So every single day, especially, and I remember this mostly in the summertime, every single day was taken up by game shows in the morning, followed by and this was only if it was a rainy day, because of course we were always outside, followed by soap operas in the afternoon. And my mother had a VCR that was literally, if you ruined her tape, because she taped that show every single day. Like, I remember watching and seeing all the episodes. We watched All My Children, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives. We never watched the other, and those were all, I think they were ABC. I think my mom was like an ABC person.
Days of Our Lives deviates. Days of Our Lives goes to NBC. General Hospital and All My Children were ABC, as well as One Life to Live.
Oh, One Life to Live.
Your mom was rare that she flipped over, because most people stayed on one channel. My mom stayed and watched All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital in sequence on ABC.
That's it. I was thinking Days of Our Lives, but it was One Life to Live. That was her favorite show. That's why it's been so many years. Like, the names just confuse me now. But I can remember first it was Susan Lucci that you were watching with All My Children, and then it was followed by One Life to Live, and I cannot remember the main actress's name on there. And then of course General Hospital.
Chris, are you going to be quiet this first round, or do you have a little bit?
Just waiting for you guys to. I was going to jump in, but I didn't want to interrupt.
I got more too.
No. I'm just wondering if you had any memories.
I mean, my mom was a Young and the Restless fan. So when I was homesick from school, I was watching, in the morning, The Price is Right. And then, of course, my mom came in at 12:30 and turned on Young and the Restless. That was her show. I mean, for me, the soap opera I watched the most had Drake Ramore as one of the main characters. So if you know which soap that was.
Yeah, that was Days of Our Lives, though. Fictionally. Yeah. So Joey Tribbiani was fictionally on Days of Our Lives. And even if you didn't see it, like sands through an hourglass, so go the days of our lives. I mean, come on. There's no way around it. It's pop culture. It's a fixture. Days of Our Lives had some of the most incredulous storylines. Marlena, I did my research. She was possessed and floated exorcist style into midair during one of the seasons. There were storylines that occurred in almost every soap opera. Things like the evil twin was a soap opera trope. The amnesia. Somebody would constantly lose their memory and have amnesia. That was a soap opera trope. So many of them, so many references.
Somebody mentioned Guiding Light, As the World Turns.
Yeah. Bold and the Beautiful.
I'm not even talking the evening ones, because my mom wasn't an evening. She didn't do the Dallas and the Falcon Crest and all that. She was a daytime soap opera. So I assume we're sticking to daytime soap operas here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bold and the Beautiful.
Bold and the Beautiful.
I mean,
Capital. There were so many that came and went too. But I mean, you couldn't ever really mock soap operas. The people that got their start on soap operas: Brad Pitt, John Stamos, Ryan Phillippe. So many. They'll always say the same thing. They had to work every day
Yeah, that's
They
hard.
filmed 5 days a week, new scripts coming at them constantly. It was like a vacation when they finally got done. And the storylines, I remember being in 5th grade when Luke and Laura got married way back in I think it was 1980 or 81. It was November 16th and 17th. It was a 2-parter. My mother's English still at that point, not amazing. So she kept me home from school to make sure that if she missed something, I could tell her what happened. And I got to watch Luke and Laura get married. People are talking about who started. Rick Springfield was Dr. Noah Drake on General Hospital. John Stamos was Blackie Parrish on General Hospital. Demi Moore was a reporter named Jackie on General Hospital.
Wasn't George Clooney? Was George Clooney on one of them?
Might have been. I'm thinking Ryan's Hope sounds familiar for that.
Maybe. But that's just the thing. These were like stars before they were stars. And, I didn't keep up on my daytime soap history. You know what I mean? So I don't actually know which of the stars has started out there. I can just remember one of the things that was funny about, like you were saying about the scripts 5 days a week, when somebody had something like a pregnancy or something like that, and they were always hiding it from they were always walking behind furniture, things, because pregnancy didn't fit into the storylines. And you wondered why the stars always, there was like a zoom in and they always looked this way. And then later on in my adult life, I'm thinking they were reading the script for their next line. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. And we didn't think about it back then.
But it was also a moment in time that, eventually it's going to be over. And, there's still a few, as we said, there's still a few that are out there, but it's almost, the reason that they worked, number one, is because their target demographic. You still had, when soap operas first started, you still had, one parent at home and one parent working. And so it was entertainment for the parent that was at home who had kids that they were taking care of and needed a break in the afternoon when the kids were taking a nap. Perfect time to put. So it was brilliant marketing in terms of that, but also it was a time of very few channels, and so of course you had limited opportunities to watch shows, and they also pushed the envelope a little bit. I think they were almost like the those books that had, what was his name, Fabio on the front with a shirt off on a horse.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was a little bit of they pushed the envelope a little bit during the day, and that was by design, of course. Get a little steamy during the day for the people that were watching. But now, I think it's an amazing part of television, but I think just like some of the things that we grew up on, they're going to start to fade away.
And to your point, they already are. But we often talk about movies having soundtracks. Soap operas started delving into soundtracks. You had Young and the Restless. They had what was his name? Danny Romalotti. Was like a rock star. And then he crossed over and had a couple of hits on the ATP Top 40. It actually crossed over. Jack Wagner from General Hospital started singing All I Need. And he had a couple of hits that started from the soap opera. Even Rick Springfield sang on General Hospital. Laura's song during the entire story arc. They had their own music. They had their own soundtracks too.
Somebody mentioned that the daytime talk shows took over for soap operas, and I couldn't agree more, because I think soap operas were starting to fade. And I want to say early 90s were like a big sort of a drop off, because I can remember in the daytime then on those main channels, first you watched, Oprah was later. First you watched Donahue, and then you watched Arsenio Hall, and then you watch this, and then, or whatever daytime, Ricky Lake. Ricky Lake was a big one. They seem to have taken over from that.
Well, I got to say, you were always in one camp too. Like I mentioned, Luke and Laura wedding. Big deal. Huge moment in soap opera history. Do you guys remember, and we're going to be cautious about this because I don't want to make light of it, but I do want to show how much society has changed. Do you remember the beginning of Luke and Laura's relationship? Had you ever heard about that sort of thing?
No, see, my like I said, my mom was the one life to live, but she watched the other ones. I liked All My Children, I'll be honest. I think, and I sort of didn't watch General Hospital after a while. I think it was like a fledgling ER. If I want to get,
Well,
you know,
Laura
like
was
I think
married.
it's
At that point,
towards
Luke owned the disco and he assaulted her in the parking lot. He
Mm,
forced himself upon her, which was not an uncommon storyline of the guy knowing what the woman wanted before the woman knew what she wanted. And from
mm.
that beginning, it turned into like soap opera royalty. Linda just put it very plainly, as did Nicole. That's exactly how it started. I mean, it's crazy just how much things have changed. But you were definitely, and that wasn't uncommon. I guess that kind of went into different soaps as well. But you were either Luke and Laura or Bo and Hope, and it was one of the two. Both were really big.
Yeah.
Somebody
It's
pointed
just
out that the
insane.
movie Mr. Mom showed the dad watching Young and the Restless, which was awesome, which is a great movie. I had to bring that up because I love Mr. Mom.
It's just that they were the stories, right? When you would always hear like an older woman talking about wanting to watch her stories, these were the stories, right? And that's what made them special. But they were a moment in time. Chris mentioned already that there were only a few television channels. We had the 3 on, regular VHF television. And unless you guys have anything else, we can go to topic number 2.
Are we there already?
It's
Wow.
16 minutes past. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, I do have one tiny little simple factoid that I happen to know about General Hospital,
Sure.
unless it was a rumor. But whenever I was a kid, me being from the Pittsburgh area, that is the beginning of it where they showed a hospital was actually a Pittsburgh hospital.
It was.
It was Allegheny General, maybe.
I don't know if it was Allegheny. I once looked at it. Somebody that I had on my show on Sundays actually showed me a picture of himself in front of it. Pretty sure it was in Pennsylvania, though.
Oh, yeah, it was in the Pittsburgh area. I distinctly remember that, mostly because I was from here. So that was just a little side note.
But I mean, it's still very cool. The intros, I can hear them. I can see them. I can see the hourglass. I can see that book from All My Children, that was just sitting there. I can see the hospital from General Hospital. You can hear the Young and the Restless where they all have those faces that they're doing it. And soap operas, absolutely. It's one last thing for me. They had their own timing. Joey called it the smell the fart face, right? Where there's a moment they're going to cut to commercial. They don't have another line, but it's just that minute. That was a soap opera thing.
Yeah.
That didn't happen anywhere else.
Smell the fart actor.
Yeah, I like that reference because, like I said, they were looking off at the script. But one other distinct thing I can remember about soap operas, All My Children, Susan Lucci, I could still remember her during a commercial for the Emmys, the Daytime Emmy Awards, taking an Emmy and hitting it like this and going, "I've never won an Emmy." And she had been on that show, like she was the longest running character, like on that show for like ever. And I can remember that commercial with her. It just stuck with me. Anyway, randomness.
It was a big deal. Year after year, she was snubbed until finally she was
snubbed. Yeah.
All right. So we talked about, Chris mentioned that one of the things that made soap operas possible is there's very little viewing. There were 3 channels. There was actually a 4th channel for a lot of us, and that was over on the UHF dial, and that was PBS. That was public broadcasting. And PBS was where what? What do you guys remember from PBS?
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Love that man. Yeah, I can still watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Like today, I wish it was still up for kids. I wish they still put reruns out there. Loved it.
Mr. Rogers or Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood?
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I love that man.
Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Electric Company.
The Jerry Lewis Telethon.
The Electric Company.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's a Great Space Coaster on PBS.
Great Space Coaster, I think, was on PBS. Big Blue Marble might have been, maybe not. But even if these shows weren't, PBS really got them going, got it moving, showed that there was value in children's educational broadcasting when nobody else really did. The closest network television came to it was, the Schoolhouse Rock, so to speak. But PBS owned it, and they continue to from its inception back in 1970. It's very much a Gen X thing. It was truly created. I'm pretty sure it was 1970. It was funny because Days of Our Lives was 65, which is when Gen X started. PBS was 70. So both topics really grew with us. as we as a generation came into being.
PBS was 67.
Could have sworn I thought it was 70.
Because the reason I knew it was late 60s is because the electric company with Morgan Freeman, I'm pretty sure was like 68.
Damn AI for being wrong. It told me 70. At any rate, still falls into Gen X for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's
Yeah.
Hannigan the Leprechaun? Is that a show? Hodgepodge. Hannigan the Leprechaun? Hodgepodge Lodge? I've never. Oh, Bob Ross.
So it says, just for whatever it's worth, PBS started on October 5th, 1970, when it became broadcasting and took over the operations of its predecessor, the National Education Television Network, which is probably where some of those shows originated.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Because, I mean, I could be wrong about Electric Company too, but.
But the whole point is, whether it's Hey You Guys and Rita Moreno, Electric Company, Spider-Man, Rita Moreno, we just said, what was
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. What's the other guy on Electric Company? Morgan Freeman. Thank you, Linda. Morgan Freeman, doing the whole cat. I mean, we were all homeschooled, but not in the traditional sense. It was homeschooled by PBS. It was homeschooled by Schoolhouse Rock. I learned a lot watching these shows. 3-2-1 Contact, Zoom.
I love that one. Yeah. I know this is another one of my like crazy offshoots. Okay. But I have a video. I just did it the other day. I got a Richard, Bob Ross Chia Pet that I just started watering it. I can't wait to show it.
I've got a Bob Ross ornament for my tree.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it.
I just find it ironic that in an era when our parents really didn't care what we were watching, I could have had almost anything on television. My parents may or may not have noticed. There existed this thing that it was in its heyday where it was perfectly safe. You had no worries about, I'll watch Disney Channel sometimes with my daughter and I'm like, wait a minute, maybe that was meant to fly over the kids' heads, but that joke was, not really appropriate for the Disney Channel. PBS there was no worrying. And like I said, our parents didn't worry anyway, but they didn't have to. And when I look at, somebody just mentioned Nova. When I look at any of these today, when I just hear the PBS thing that comes in, the caller bing, bing, it just does. It's amazing to me.
Wasn't Carl Sagan? Did Carl Sagan have something on PBS too? Was that Nova? I think
it very well could have been. Nova was actually brought into our schools. That was when the TV and the VCR cart would come in and we would see Nova come on if there was something a teacher happened to see and use it to teach us. John's wearing shorts. Yeah, it was 77 degrees here in Charlotte today.
And I'm wearing corduroys.
My air conditioning is on. Chris, hot in Florida today?
Beautiful. It was a high of 80, blue skies, and it's going to be 69 tonight. So, yeah, I mean, I thought Carl Sagan, pretty sure. And the Great Space Coaster was actually PBS. It was the affiliates. For PBS, because my dad used to work for public broadcasting in Maryland.
Was this where they did like Jacques Cousteau and stuff too? Because I remember watching all the Animal Kingdom shows. All the animal shows.
NBC did Animal Kingdom, and I'm pretty sure it was NBC that had the Jacques Cousteau show. But you never knew anything that could have been falling into public broadcasting, into that educational sphere during the day, was part of it. But I mean, so there was a Gen X trend that was going around last year that said you can't summon a generation by playing a song. And our friend Sherry played Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, and somebody else played Guns N' Roses, and somebody played Foreigner, and somebody played Journey and got a lot of views. I played the Rainbow Connection. I sat on a brick wall with I didn't have a banjo, so I used a ukulele, and I lip synced to Rainbow Connection. And it got millions of views, and people were like, why am I crying? It's a thing. I was at a convention this week and somebody interviewed me with a Kermit doll and he did the voice. And the guy holding the Muppet turned invisible. He disappeared on me. All I could focus on was Kermit and it felt real to me. Is that weird?
A little.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
maybe.
was so similar. I was like, maybe a little.
But I have an affinity for it. I see the Muppets. I have an affinity. I have affection for these inanimate objects that aren't real, but they're real to me in a way.
I mean, all you do is look at the Never-Ending Story, but that's a whole nother conversation. No, I was the same way with like the Fraggles. I mean, they, not that was PBS, but the idea.
No, that was your rich paid programming that us poor kids we didn't have access to.
Yes, because I was super.
If you had cable.
Yeah. I was super wealthy growing up. So yeah, I mean, but I get it. Like with the inanimate objects and the things that it doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, I've always said, like, for me, like the 2 times that I cried in the movie theater were E.T. when he was all white and laying on the riverbed and I thought he was going to die, and the volleyball in Wilson the volleyball. Wilson, I'm sorry, as he's floating away. I'm like, why am I crying over a volleyball? I don't know, but I feel this attachment to it.
So now, Shell, you'll be able to speak to this. So there was PBS when we were kids.
Yeah.
Now, as a parent, PBS continued in my life with my kids. They had their shows that they watched on it, and some were okay, some were god awful. I to this day, I'd like to throat punch Caillou. That little bastard needs to be hung up by his toes and swung around like a dead cat. No offense to cat lovers. There's some of those shows I hated, but I remember watching PBS Kids with my kids, and it still held up.
I wish did I ever show you the photo of my Caillou cake?
No, is that what you're looking for on your phone, or are you distracted?
I was looking for it on my phone.
I made the joke that Caillou was a millennials version of Charlie Brown. We had a bald kid that had all kinds of issues, and they did, but ours was better.
There it is. Hold on. That's my. Can you see it?
Yep. Yep.
Picture.
My son's name is Bobby, and I made that cake. I made I did cake artistry for a while.
Scott in the tanning bed.
What's that?
You showed a picture of Scott in the tanning bed by accident there for a second.
Yeah.
You did not want to see. I was like, hey, we're live. You can't come over here right now. Because it's a tanning bed and,
But I mean, Scott, you don't have kids. I mean, Chris, you don't have kids. But if I say Barney, you'll know who Barney is.
Oh, yeah.
PBS still stayed relevant for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I was really disappointed at, though, when Sesame Street moved over to HBO. That I don't know. It just kind of bothered me. It just, why make it so that only people that pay can access it? That one did.
Same thing happened with the Peanuts Gang and Apple. So now if you want to watch Charlie Brown Christmas,
you got to watch
one free
Apple.
day.
Yeah.
One free day. Otherwise, it lives only on Apple.
My grandmother, she was a tiny little lady. We called her my Mima. And she only met one celebrity in her entire life, and it happened to have been at the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. I don't remember who was there. I think it was my cousin. And next thing you know, she's in an elevator. She turns around, and it was Mr. Rogers. Okay. And for like her entire life, that was like the pinnacle of her entire life because she gushed over him. And she said, personally, he was as great of a man on television as he was in real life. Like he was as kind and genuine. And, I will always idolize Mr. Rogers. It's a leftover from being a kid. Idolized him then, and still to this day think what a great man he was.
He was, by all accounts, an amazing person. I think I've shared before when his name came up, I personally found him a little creepy. I don't know why. Ooh. I know he wasn't. There was nothing creepy about him. The man was, by all accounts, an amazing person. But just walking in, making a big deal out of taking off his shoes and getting off and then something just struck me as not quite right there. But again, that's on me. Mr. Rogers, full respect.
Yeah, full respect.
And was it Mr. Green Jeans?
Oh, dude, yeah. Captain Kangaroo.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just, kids today
right.
don't do that. They don't have the shared experience on the big screen. They've got their pad in front of them and they're watching YouTube Kids and they're watching individual. It's not the same experience. It's just not.
And you have to, I'd assume, as a parent, you probably have to really pay attention to what your kids are watching because there's so much kids material out there that you think, I don't want my 5-year-old to see this yet, or my 8-year-old. Whereas to your point, John, our parents put us in front of the TV and did not have to worry when it was Sesame Street and the Electric Company and the Great Space Coaster and 3-2-1 Contact and the Big Blue Marble. All that stuff was just like legit children's stuff.
And what John said about the innuendos, the older I got as a person, as a kid, a lot of that stuff, would have went over my head. But sometimes there were shows that I've watched with my kids where I'm like, that was a totally adult joke. Yeah. That was a totally adult joke so that the kids apparently could watch it with the adults and the adults would be entertained at the same time. I didn't like that part of where some television programming went.
I will finish by saying you can't be a show that talks about all things Gen X without mentioning that the Challenger tragedy that traumatized so many of us that had Christy McAuliffe on board, she was plan B. The original plan to get kids and people vested in space travel again was to put Big Bird on board. Absolute truth. Verifiable, absolute truth.
And, I used to work for NASA. I used to be an educator with NASA. And I actually, when you said Plan B, I was starting to think of Barbara Morgan, which was the first runner-up to Christy McAuliffe. I met her several times. I've had conversations with her. Also very wonderful, but I always used it as a message whenever I was a teacher, too, to all my students. I would be like, listen, sometimes in life you win, and sometimes you come in second place, and sometimes Plan B, second place, is kind of where you were meant to be for whatever reason. And I always use that example on there. I thought that was just like, I'm on offshoots today. Did you notice that?
I noticed that. The reason Big Bird didn't work out is there was no way to fit everything in. The uniform, the costume, getting it, the logistics, it just didn't work. But that was their first attempt at mixing education and children with space flight. And I'm like, as traumatized as Gen X kids are today from a memory of watching a teacher try to go up in space and have that happen. Imagine what that would have been like if yellow feathers were falling from the sky. I mean, there wouldn't be enough. I'm just going to leave it there. There's not enough.
As God is my witness, I thought Big Bird could fly.
Right, appropriate for Thanksgiving. Oh, and Kevin, I think, was it Kevin or is it, it's Life that's always telling me how I shell everything. Listen, I used to work for NASA. Like I know stuff.
You're almost a rocket scientist.
But I'm Kramer sometimes.
All right. So
I did want to point out one thing about PBS though. My dad used to work for the Baltimore affiliate, and he did a show called Consumer Survival Kit. And I'm pretty sure it got nominated for an Emmy, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
But it was in the 60s, and it was all about teaching people, consumers, like how to choose the right products and appliances and all of that stuff. It was kind of ahead of its time, like kind of the Consumer Reports, but ahead of that. So
that's cool.
Well, Owls or Rabbit Holly asks, not PBS, but did anyone ever go nuts over Sid and Marty Krofft shows? Land of the Lost was my first favorite show. And speaking of which, thank you so much for the perfect segue. Topic number 3, Sleestaks and other things from children's shows and programs that scared the living tar out of us. Do you remember Sleestaks specifically? Did you watch Land of the Lost?
My husband said I married up.
Can you stay on task?
Listen, I could still recall, okay, there's another one of my demos here, that as soon as Will and Holly got in that raft, we did this on the couch. We did this because we were mimicking Will and Holly going down the riverbed on the thing. That was how we sat down to watch Land of the Lost. It was one of my absolute favorite shows as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had quite a few things that freaked me out when I was a kid, and I actually had a ventriloquist doll, and then they started to freak me out, so I wanted it out of my house. But that was ventriloquism was like pretty big in the 70s, and they would have these shows where somebody would have a ventriloquist doll, and they completely freaked me out. I did watch Land of the Lost, and so I remember the Sleestaks, but they didn't scare me.
Dude, it was the sound for me. Even more than the image, there was this breathing sound that they did, which was just, it's bad. It lives on in my nightmares, but it was Sleestaks. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I remember having literal nightmares over. Like, I would wake up in a cold sweat as a child, imagining the way they set it up on the movie where he's looking in the window and the kids are there. And I just remember, don't go. And they did, because, Gen X.
There's something that freaked me out off topic on the Christmas specials, which always started around this time of year. The freaking Baby New Year with his big floppy ears, and then the Mr. Freeze, I think his name was. That's one of the ones that freaked me out whenever I was a kid.
From Batman?
Mr.
No, the Christmas special from
the Winter Warlock.
The Winter Warlock, yeah, that's it. That one always freaked me out, along with Baby New Year and his big flappy ears.
You are the only person in the history of time, no pun intended, that was afraid of Baby New Year. That is specifically a Shell thing. That's just you.
Oh, Dark Crystal. Wait, somebody just mentioned Dark Crystal. Listen, when they went, oh, like that freaked me out. Does everybody remember that?
It's been a long time since I've seen the Dark Crystal.
They would breathe over to the, some sort of a god that the crystal, I think it was. I don't even remember, but they would all go, oh, it was creepy as hell.
Somebody said Freeze Meister, which was that was Heat Miser and Snow Miser.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah. Green, I'm Mr. Green Christmas. I'm Mr. 101.
Speaking of Mr. Rogers from earlier, how about Lady Elaine? Did she scare you?
Yes.
Yes? Somebody told me a trick on how not to be afraid of Lady Elaine. Next time you see her, think Neil Patrick Harris. Almost identical.
I saw that meme.
Yeah, she still looks freaky, and so does Madam. I don't know, the dolls freak me out.
Madam was bad.
Anthony Hopkins, yes, Magic. I did see that, and that is a freaky movie. And if you don't want to be afraid of ventriloquist dummies, don't watch that movie.
I'm trying to think
New
of what
Year
else.
Was precious, Shell.
I know his ears were weird. They gave me the creeps.
The whole point of that special was not to make fun of people's, and that's exactly what you're doing. He was made fun of for those years, and now you're doing it too.
Just like Nestor, I guess you were scared of Nestor the long-eared donkey too.
I called him Nestor the ball baby donkey. That's all that entire show was like the donkey just crying his eyes out for the entire show. When I was a kid, that's what my sister and I called him, was Nestor the ball baby donkey.
Wow. All right, so scary or not scary? Flying monkeys.
Not scary.
Not scary because of the context.
Scary for me when they picked them up and they were running from them. That bothered me. Speaking of the Wizard of Oz, how about the Wicked Witch of the West? Was she scary?
No.
It didn't bother you when she threw flame at Scarecrow? Dude, what is wrong? But give me some child with big ears and I'm hiding under the covers.
I said I was freaked out. I didn't say I was scared.
You're probably afraid of the dentist too, and Rudolph, I'm sure.
The Cobras from Rikki Tikki Tavi. Scary, not scary.
Yes.
Naina. Yeah. When they would come around and talk like that. Yeah, that scared me.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Now I'm going to be freaked out tonight.
And if he does not move, I strike. I just remember I could not let my legs be outside of the covers or hanging off the bed because all I thought was Naina's going to get me. That got me. That one scared me a lot.
Yeah, thanks for that. Now they're going to be freaked out.
Naina. I can't remember which one it was.
I can't believe you remembered it. Most people don't even remember Rikki Tikki Tavi.
Oh, wait. I know. Watership Down. Watership Down.
That was next on my list.
Watership Down freaked me out as a kid. That bloody mouth bunny, and we were all allowed to watch this as kids.
Yeah. I saw it in school.
Yeah,
I saw it in school, in elementary school. Because it
yeah.
was based on a novel of a book. It was a literary work. And
Yeah,
somebody just goes, Nagina scared the bejesus out of me.
Somebody
That's
else,
my favorite expression.
somebody else
Bejesus.
mentioned the orange faces on the Oompa Loompas. That freaked me out too.
They were neck. I was going to bring up the Oompa Loompas. Damn it, everyone's ahead of me.
Yeah.
Trauma ship down, someone called it. Yeah. I am ahead of you on that one because after I thought about it, I'm like, oh, I know a lot of things that freaked me out as a kid, and that one was definitely one of them.
And again, I'm talking about when you were a child. How about Bumble from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Did the Bumble scare you at all?
I thought he was adorable.
Scared me.
Because he was animatronic.
Yeah, I mean, at the end he was cute, but when he was like trying to eat Rudolph, dude, that got me. And Rudolph,
Yeah. When he came around the corner and he like at first, like, yeah, I mean, I think he's awesome, but he scared me. Yeah. Because he had the big teeth.
yes.
Yep.
Did that bother me? I don't know.
I don't know. The whole thing when he was like trailing Rudolph and Cornelia, I mean, he was always one step behind them. And that was frightening to me as a kid. Like he was literally hunting them. And yeah, it got cute. Bumble's bounce, all that. Oh, here. I forgot I was even wearing it.
Rudolph.
Adorable. Once he got his teeth taken out.
Yeah. Taken out.
I actually liked the Bumble because he looked like my Uncle Fonz. Okay.
Oh my-
Wirehead, I don't know what to do with that.
Augustus Gloop. I saw someone mention.
I just think it's funny that Elaine, Madam, Bumble, the Child Napper, all these childhood things scared us as kids. But then Gen Xers, by the time we turned 12, en masse, we were all reading Stephen King in a room late at night by ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
Like we were, I think the childhood trauma of all these events, the Slee Stacks, kind of like put us in the direction where we started we liked to be scared. For all the horror movie genres, that really, yeah, you had Hitchcock before, but nothing to the level of all the horror that really came at us as a sort of pop culture phenomenon. We like to be scared.
Mm-hmm.
How about Bozo the Clown?
All clowns scare me.
I wasn't scared by clowns. No, I think horror movies, I think most people know that horror movies were always one of my favorite genres, but that's because as soon as we were allowed to, we could go to the local video store and pick up any B horror movie we wanted to at any age and no one cared. And we would that's what we would do like on a Friday night is like sit in the dark with flashlights and scare ourselves. And maybe it was because we were brought up on all this stuff. Let's scare the little kids so that by the time they get to be this age, we'll be all right. We can scare them even more.
The giant rats from Princess Bride, any rats, any vermin, anything. Ben, Michael Jackson movie, Ben as a child, trauma, house full of, bothered me. Didn't like.
I mean, I to your point, I watched Salem's Lot way too early. I think I
read it.
10 and I haven't eaten cheesesteak since then because I got so scared I threw up my cheesesteak. And I've always, and now to this day, I can't even I can't do it as much as it smells delicious to me. I'm like, I can't do it because of that.
There was a cheesesteak?
Cheesesteak, yeah.
Not in the movie. He was eating cheesesteak and he got sick. You are totally distracted today, Sal. This is not acceptable.
Because I got so scared of Salem's Lot, like it turned my stomach. I was terrified.
Oh, okay.
So you're not afraid of anything we've mentioned. You brought up New Year's baby, whatever, with the big ears. Anything else? I mean, the Cobras from Ricky Tikki got you. That makes me feel like you're a little normal.
What about Willy Wonka?
Somebody I think was my big one.
What about Willy Wonka? Somebody mentioned that.
Oh, the boat ride. Yeah, because then there was that worm, that millipede that came out, and then like the chicken that got its head cut off. Like, what were they thinking? Like, there could have been more gentle things that happened on that damn boat ride than to have a chicken with its head cut off and like freaking millipedes.
But this is to John's point about scaring kids. Was it John? I think John, you mentioned it. It's not, this is like throughout our history.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
And you know, the Grimm brothers, I mean, they're fairy tales. My God, like these were, you go back and you read those now, and it's like talking about dismembering people and cutting hands off and all kinds, putting stuff people in, and like, I mean, cooking people and eating them and just horrifying stuff. But these were the stories that were read to us. S'mores. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I and from what I like, a lot of the fairy tales that we learned as kids, 4 and 20 blackbirds baked into a pie kind of thing. A lot of them had very scary origins. Like you can research that stuff on the internet. But a lot of them were based on something that was I mean, think we sang, Lizzie Borden took an axe. Lizzie Borden gave her father 40 whacks. And when he
Both her parents,
saw what
right?
she had done, she gave her father 41 or whatever. Like these were things that we were, ring around the rosies and all that. They were,
and I do remember more from, to jump back to not just the Oompa Loompas and Willy Wonka himself, but the fate of the kids, which again was a cautionary tale. All the kids that misbehaved, horrible things happened to one after the other. Every time they misbehaved, every time they did something wrong, that was it. They were a giant grape. They got shrunk into a TV. Horrible things happened to these kids. You know, we assumed they were okay, but we never saw them again. Did they manage to juice her? Or, you know, was that the end of that? Who knows?
How about the one we didn't mention is, did anybody get freaked out by the Brady Bunch episode in Hawaii with the little totem that was cursed and all kinds of stuff happened to them? Like he woke up with a spider on him.
Oh, how do you not remember that?
I don't remember.
Bobby found a totem when the Mr. Brady got a trip to go to Hawaii, and his boss said you can take the whole family because evidently that's a thing. So on a work trip, he gets to take all 9 of his family to Hawaii with them. Bobby finds a tiki totem, which is supposedly bad luck, but he wears it as good luck around his neck. And then Alice gets it and her back gets thrown out, and Peter gets it and a painting almost gets him with a tarantula. And then Greg gets it and he gets wiped out on a surfboard. None of this is even close to bringing up a memory.
I don't know. No, and I've seen like every. I think I watched so much Brady Bunch that they probably.
Now, this one you'd remember. It was like the Grand Canyon. It was a 2-part. They always had these few 2-part episodes. But yes, it scared me. Vincent Price was on it. At the end of the episode, you've got Vincent Price, and Vincent Price scared the tar out of me as a kid.
You have a scary voice.
The creature feature. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that one freaked me out. Like this, because I'm not a big fan of spiders. So when he was sleeping and that tarantula was crawling on his chest up his neck. Yeah, no.
Well, in any cartoon, Cruella de Vil, every Disney movie had their bad guy, their scary person. We can go on and on and on. But the point that I wanted to make, we already made, that it followed us through our entire existence. And we continue to enjoy being scared today. And I just think that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, to recap, we talked about Days of Our Lives.
There you go.
We talked about PBS, and we finished talking about Sleestack specifically and things that traumatized us, scared us in our childhood. 3 seemingly random topics that we've had a lot to say about, but is there anything you guys see in any of that that kind of brings it together and connects it?
I had an idea for 2 of them, but I can't come up with a third. There has to be. I can kind of make a vague connection to a third.
I'm pretty stumped.
Let's give Chad a minute, and then maybe Shell will let you investigate what you got.
Yeah, I want to see what Chad has to say.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, the Brady Bunch thing, that did scare me. I didn't like when people were in danger. People that like were endearing to us, like the Bradys or Rudolph, when they were like in danger. I remember as a kid it bothering me. Is it Marlena from Days of Our Lives? No.
Up in the Attic, the Brady Bunch, that's the one she's talking about, right? Up in the Attic, where it's like, I'm burning up. Yeah, that was freaky.
And we didn't even talk about Little House on the Prairie, which was scarier than everything we've talked about. But that's a topic for another day.
God, I'm trying to think of like anything that I could connect with.
People are coming up with Marlena. It's not
PBS.
This isn't a topic I think many would get, but it's a reveal that I hope you guys will love. Lola says Debbie Reynolds. Nope. And Ron Riffle brings up the Incredible Hulk. My younger brother was afraid of him too. He's the reason we couldn't watch it sometimes. Wanted to kick his ass for that. UHF channels. Nope. Because Days of Our Lives was on NBC. Shell, why don't you give it a shot?
The only thing that I could come up with as a connection, I was thinking more of General Hospital as opposed to Days of Our Lives, but my connection would have been Jennifer Aniston. Because Jennifer Aniston, somebody mentioned a PBS show, Leprechaun, and then it just kind of...
It was the scary movie Leprechaun that she was on.
Right, but then somebody mentioned that there was something about a leprechaun on that. Well, Jennifer Aniston's father, Stephanopoulos or whatever his name was, she was Greek, okay?
Right.
And you mentioned, and
His
you're
last
Greek.
name's Aniston.
Is it? No, it's Anastaskis or something like
No,
that.
it was Aniston.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, I'm pretty sure. Okay,
yeah.
well, whatever.
Anyway,
he was big in the early creation of some of the soap operas. So I was thinking that plus maybe an early start, a guest show on Sesame Street, maybe something like that. So that was my idea, was Jennifer Aniston.
nope, but I see where you would get that. That's good. Life says they all sucked. No, they did not. I loved all of those things. I loved PBS. I didn't love Days of Our Lives. I loved Land of the Lost, Lee Stacks. All right, doesn't look like anybody's going to get it. I didn't think anybody would. Let's see if this clears it up. If I could have everyone's attention on the screen for a moment. Let's see if I can get this to work.
Hi, I'm Wesley Ure, and I play Will Marshall on Land of the Lost with my Slee Stack, one of the co-creators of Dragon Tales. And yes, I was once pretty on Days of Our Lives. And I am the secret connection. Thanks, guys.
On the Three Viewer Podcast. Love it.
Oh, that's so awesome.
That was Wesley Ure,
Awesome.
who played Will on Land of the Lost. And if you couldn't hear, he mentioned that he is a co-creator of Dragon Tales, a show that continues to play on PBS, that he had a recurring role on Days of Our Lives, and of course, he was Will on Land of the Lost, running away from all the Slee Stacks.
That's awesome.
Never would have got it, but you know what? The very video connection of it, I think you need to play it again for everybody because we weren't expecting it.
Yeah,
Let's see.
for sure. I agree.
Hi, I'm Wesley Ure, and I play Will Marshall on Land of the Lost with my Slee Stack, one of the co-creators of Dragon Tales. And yes, I was once pretty on Days of Our Lives. And I am the secret connection. Thanks, guys.
On the Three Viewer Podcast. Love it.
That's awesome.
There it is.
That,
So cool.
listen, hail to John, because I can't top that next week. Forget it. I'm going to shell it. I'm just going to tell you that already. I'm going to shell it compared to that.
But you were right. It's Yanis Anastakakis, and I did know that. So that works. Yeah. So he's a co-producer on PBS show. He was on Days of Our Lives, which I didn't realize that he continued to act as much as he did after being Will. And he's actually a follower of mine, a friend of mine now. We run into each other whenever we're at conventions. I make time out to go see him. And he was kind enough to give me some background last time I saw him in Rhode Island. He goes, let me be your connection. And he gave me the 3 topics.
That's great. I love it.
That's
And he had the quintessential 70s, 80s headshot with the towel around his neck. That was great.
That's awesome. I really, honestly, I need to get out there and, I'm not going to top that. No, I'm sorry. Just prepare to be shelled next week.
So, I mean, how cool is that we live in a world where we can reminisce, talk. These conventions are awesome for me. That's why I love going to them. And yes, I get a little bit more access based on what it is we all do in our everyday lives. But Wesley is amazing. He will sit and talk to people forever. Land of the Lost remains a huge part. Started in 1974. So another one that Gen Xers, especially early Gen Xers, grew up with. Sid Croft, all of 96 years old, was there. I talked to him for a good 20, 30 minutes. the creator of all those shows. You can't, I mean, it is to me Land of the Lost and all the Croft Super Show, the Wonder Bug, Electro Woman and Dyna Girl, all that stuff to me, and Land of the Lost, incredible for me. What do you guys remember?
I mean, I love Land of the Lost, and I gotta be like, it's one of those shows for me. I love fantasy stuff like that and time travel. And I think, you know, the Land of the Lost movie was silly and funny, but I really wish that they would have done something that was like a little more, I don't want to, like, adventure, like less of the humor and a little more adventure action, because I think a Land of the Lost series today, with the production values that they could do, of course, I'm a big fan of shooting everything on location and not using the CGI crap. But what they could do with it today, just for me, it's like kind of before Raiders of the Lost Ark, that type of thing. I really enjoy those kind of stories and shows, and I wish we had more of them.
You know, and in some ways, though, I think Land of the Lost would be completely ruined today because it would be somewhat realistic. I think what made the show, what made Sid and Marty Krofft really famous, was the absolute idiocy of the graphics, the puppetry, the everything. There was a show called, what was it, Hats or something. I did a video.
Lidsville.
The ridiculousness of it, I think, was what attracted us kids to it in the first place. And I don't think you could make something that ridiculous today and have kids attached to it. I think it would need to almost be more hyper realistic for a kid to want to watch it.
Well, they could do it for us.
Well, that's true.
Same thing, like the Lost in Space reboot was pretty good. I watched it. I enjoyed it. They could do something like that, you know, and it could kind of be, I don't know. I love those kind of stories. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy, like, I love to see what people have in their heads. Like, imagining this universe that doesn't exist is pretty cool. So you're saying that you'd like to see some more of these remakes while I'm having s'mores. Yes.
Yeah.
To echo Shell's point, I love the fakeness of all of it. Mm-hmm. That was kind of its charm. To be fair, Sid actually admitted to being in a chemically altered state when they imagined some of these things.
Don't think he had to admit it.
Well, he finally did at some point. The statute of limitations must be over. So, I mean, they had help that they didn't really need it to be that way. But I loved it. And it's memories, it's representation. It's something that is lost in time today. I don't know that kids would have the ability to fill in the blanks with their imagination or the patience to do so the way that we did.
I think you pegged it right there, John, the filling in of the blanks. I think we serve up, as a mom, former teacher, blah, 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 we serve up our kids too much on a silver platter sometimes. We give them all they need to see without leaving things up to their imagination. They don't have to fill in the blanks anymore. They don't even have to fill in the blanks with their play, because everything is, you know, the toys make music and they do this and they do that. We have blocks. Okay, so we had to fill in. And I would argue that our generation might be one of the last ones, maybe the millennials too, where nobody filled in those parts for us. We had to fill that in.
Even our games, our early video games, mm-hmm. If you look at an Atari game, 8-bit graphics, we had to fill in a lot of those blanks. If that was supposed to be Superman flying over Metropolis, it took a lot of imagination to make what looked like a red and blue Lego on the screen into Superman. You want to look at Gen X imagination on video games, all you got to do is look at Atari Basketball. Mm-hmm. The cover is like this amazing Larry Bird dunk, and the actual game itself was, let's just say, not.
Barnstormer.
Great one for that. Adventure really had to fill in the blanks with the game Adventure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome game, though.
So that's all I got, guys.
I love it. I think that you filled in the blank for us perfectly with the connection. No, I don't think anybody would have gotten it.
No.
But it filled in perfectly. Being able to, I hope that you can come up with more of these every time you go somewhere.
I'll give it my level best.
Yeah.
There may be one more in the tank for the next time I do one of these. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. As always, somebody made the comment earlier today that I can't believe there were only 39 people in the chat watching. We need a little help. Obviously, we do climb into the hundreds and thousands on rewatches, but I think part of the charm of the show is to watch it in real time and engage and to be part of that virtually live studio audience, which is why we went to this format. We could just record it perfectly and edit it perfectly and take out a lot of what I think makes it fun. But we don't want to. We want it live in front of a studio audience, and your comments coming in front of the screen, I think, make it. But we're asking for help. If there's 40 of you and 40 of you each know 3 people, maybe we can get 100 people here next week. I don't know. I'd love to see this grow.
David asked how to contact us. Every one of us has social media presence online in different genres and different things, and all of us can be contacted through any one of those social media accounts.
Do you have an email that you use more prevalent than others when it comes to social media?
Me?
Yeah.
I have info@genxshell.com. info@genxshell.com.
Chris?
I'm just typing mine in now.
Thank you, my friend.
And I also have a website, chrisclues.com, that you can check out also. So, yeah, I mean,
genxshell.com, genxjono.com.
Yeah.
My Gen X Shell is mostly for my UGC work, though. That's not really for anything about this, but yeah.
Yeah, we love doing this, and we do it just because we love it, and we love hanging out with all of you. And to John's point, that's why we do it live, because the show doesn't work without all of you. There's plenty of shows out there that record everything at a time, edit it cleanly, as John said. And we'd rather do it this way because you guys make the show, and we would love to see it grow. We'd love to be able to take this on the road. In fact, we've been talking about that potentially at one of these cons that's coming up. So we'll certainly keep you posted on that, but we hope to be able to bring it to a city near you at some point soon. But we need to get more people excited.
Yeah. And we're glad to see you cheered us up. And yeah.
All right, guys. Gen X Jono signing off. Giving you guys all the love in the world. Peace and be good.
Stay rad, everybody.
See ya.
And we out.
I-do-do.
I'm trying. There it is.